Hey everybody, Kenny here. So in this video I just want to give some advice on how to take on the optional boss Razorfin Behemoth in Ruined King and League of Legends story. So keeping in line with the way they did things in Battle Chasers Night War, Airship Syndicate made their optional bosses quite a bit tougher than the actual story bosses that you'll encounter in the game. Now, I've only played the game on Veteran, so I don't know if this particular boss is just as dangerous or if it's tuned down a bit for story mode and normal. But at the very least, I know that in Veteran and probably the higher difficulty, that the Razorfin Behemoth can actually be incredibly dangerous if you aren't set up right. So my first bit of advice here is just to completely focus on cleansing. If you chose to wait until after you completed the first major story dungeons and have a full 3-person party, then most likely by the time you encounter this boss, your party should be about level 12. And if this is the case, then that's good, because this will mean that your Yasuo will have access to meditate. And even though meditating will be taking away from him contributing to damage, which is his role in combat, you do want to be clearing any bleed the moment that it shows up. So if Yasuo's turn is up and you don't think you're going to be getting Ilaoi to cleanse off the bleed before Yasuo's turn comes up again, then I definitely recommend have him clear it himself, because if he uses meditate to clear it, then he'll basically get his turn back almost immediately, and then you can go and have him go back to attacking. Braum, I highly recommend anytime you have enough ultimate gauge and you have full stacks of bleed on the party, and once again it doesn't seem like Ilaoi is going to be able to do a party cleanse before the next time the Behemoth gets their turn, then I recommend just have him use his Porogeddon, give everybody a little shield, clear off the bleed, and that should save you some headache there. And then for Ilaoi, and this is going to be a little tougher to do. For the other two, it's just a matter of choosing to reprioritize. But for Ilaoi, this is going to require actually focusing on certain types of gear for her, which is going to be a little tough since you don't really find that much stuff with haste on it. So you really, any little bits of haste you can get, you want to give her. And if you can, just enchant her equipment with haste on it. Because while like haste is really hard to build up at all, any kind of haste is going to go much further than no haste. Like, I didn't think that I was going to need any haste so early on in the game, but both the Razorfin Behemoth and one of the other enemies in the same area showed me that haste is actually much more harmful to deal with than it was in Battle Chasers Night War, since you have enemies who can just either have it passively or buff themselves to have it, and they do it pretty regularly. And you don't have anyone who can give slow to the enemy. And if you can't slow the enemy, well, I mean, I'm not gonna say throughout the game you won't have anyone, but for the early game, you won't have anyone who can do it. For the first 3 party members, they can't do it. So since you can't slow the enemy down, with the exception of once you get Braum to level 13, he gets an ultimate that lets him do a single round of slow, but a single round of slow isn't going to do much for you. So you're better off focusing on getting Ilaoi some haste, because you need her to be getting her turn back as quick as possible. Like in Battle Chasers, it was important to give Calibretto haste, because you wanted him to be able to get his party heals off as quick as possible. But that wasn't until more than halfway through the game. Here, we're talking an optional dungeon after the first major story dungeon. So, I mean, I'm not even sure what to expect moving forward from here, because if we're getting this right now, then things are going to get rough most likely. Yeah, so those are tips that I believe will pretty much guarantee that you'll get through this. As you can see from the footage that I've been showing, I didn't do the things that I've been saying. You know, like I wasn't meditating with my Yasuo. I wasn't having my Braum clear and the bleed when it was up for his turn, except for maybe one time. So I was mostly relying on Illaoi to take care of it, but I didn't have any haste on Illaoi, and it comes through in this. You can see I lost my Braum and my Yasuo multiple times, and even though I made it through, you know, I didn't get a full party wipe. It got close. And I went through a lot of revival potions in this battle because I wasn't set up right. So if you want to save yourself some resources, then I definitely recommend, you know, reprioritizing with Yasuo and Braum as needed, and try to build up that haste with Illaoi. Anyways, that's it for me. Hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, appreciate doing all the YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to you next time.